Hello. So we built the BoltOps reference architecture, all the infrastructure components, and we've also deployed a demo application, a demo backend application to the production VPC as well as the development VPC. Okay. In this next step, what we're going to do is we're going to deploy a front-end application to the production VPC as well as the development VPC. To do that, there's a demo application down here. You just scroll down bottom, and it says demo front-end app. Okay, so you click on that. The demo application is a pretty simple application. All it does is it calls the backend application through a network call, and then it returns back that response. Okay, so you kind of have to have the backend application up and running. Okay, and we've already did that. So backend applications are running on the AWS account. And locally to test it too, you're gonna have the local demo application running locally also. Okay. So here are the instructions to kind of get everything up and running locally so you can test it. And then here are some instructions to get everything running on AWS. Okay, so we'll just go right through these instructions. Okay, let's go clone down the repo first. Okay, we're going to clone it down. We're going to cd into it, and then we do a bundle. Then we do a bin web. Okay, now that's only the front-end application. Remember, you also have to have the backend application too. So I'm going to go to the demo backend application and start that guy up too. And they run on, they're designed to run different ports here. This one's running like 8081, and this one's running on 8080. Okay, and let me kind of open up one more window here. Let's kind of do this. Let's move this one down here. Okay, and let's open up another window here, another terminal. And we'll organize it. Let's open it like this so I can organize it properly. Okay, so that one's there, this one's here. Okay, so on the, let's see, on the right side there, that is the demo application port 80. Okay, that's the demo backend application. And then the port 8081 is the front-end application. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to curl localhost 8081. That's the front-end application, and you can see the response is hitting both servers there. It's hitting basically the front-end application. It says front-end application calling backend application, response from backend application is 42. So if I hit only port 80 or 8080, it's going to only hit the backend application. And I'll do it one more time. That hits both. Okay, so now we've tested everything locally. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So we're set there. I'm going to go ahead and stop these servers now and just organize the windows. Okay, so that's looking good. Let's go to the next step. That's everything locally. Now, to get on AWS, first we actually have to create ECR repositories to store the Docker images, because this is a Docker application. It's already been Dockerized. This demo front-end application basically has everything set up already. All you do is configure a couple of values, then you should be able to deploy this on AWS. We're going to use a tool. Let's talk about the tool a bit. Let's first create the ECR repositories. And in order to create the ECR repositories, we're just going to use these two commands here, and it switches your AWS profiles here. So let me run the commands. So I created the first one, I created the second one. So AWS profile, I got one pointed basically to the development account and one pointed to the production account, because remember, we're using separate accounts here in this scenario. Okay, and if you haven't set that up, you should have already have. Then there's a settings setup kind of instructions there. Okay, so we can easily switch and create different things in different accounts. Okay, so that's done, and now we need to configure a couple things within the project in order to use your settings. Okay, and we're going to use a tool called UFO to do this. The UFO is a tool I wrote. It basically is an ECS deploy tool right there, and it does three things. It builds the Docker image. It then registers something called ECS template definitions. That's how ECS understands how to run the Docker containers on the AWS infrastructure. And then lastly, it deploys to ECS. It creates something called ECS service, and also optionally creates a load balancer, which we're going to create in this case for the front-end application. Okay, and so the starter project has basically everything already set up, but you do have to configure some settings to fit your environment. Okay, and the first setting that we're going to configure is the ECR repos that we just basically created, and that's in .ufo settings. So let's go ahead and grab that and then start adjusting that. So let's go to demo frontend .ufo settings.yml, and now I'll just put this up here. And now I'm going to grab the development one. So this right here is the development one right here. Okay, that's a different account number. See? And then this is the front end one. Now we're taking a multiple AWS account strategy here, but if you have everything in single accounts, then you actually have to name these repositories differently, because these account numbers are going to be the same. Okay. Let's see. Like you probably want to put like development here, right, and then production here. Okay, but we don't have to do that because we're using kind of segregated accounts here. Okay, so we did that step. Next step is going to adjust the network settings. So the UFO tool is going to go ahead and deploy your application onto ECS, but it doesn't know which subnets and which VPC to deploy them to. So this is how you can configure that, okay? And again, there are starter files in here. We just have to adjust them. So let's go to Settings, Network, Development, okay, and Production. So I'm opening both those up, and I'll start with Development, and then I'll go to Production. So let's go to Development. Oh, and to grab these values, right, the easiest way is just go to the VPC CloudFormation outputs, and then you just grab it in there, okay? So that is the development VPC. And now we're going to grab private application subnets for the ECS subnets. Okay? And then we're going to grab public subnets for the load balancer because the front-end application is a external facing application. It needs to be on public subnets. Okay? In the demo backend application, we actually use private subnets for both of them. Okay, so that takes care of development. So let's go over, switch over to the AWS production account, and then grab those values and paste them in. So VPC there, outputs. There's a VPC value down here. Put that in there. Okay. Now ECS subnets. That's gonna be private app subnets. Okay. So let's put those right here. And then for the ELB subnets, we want that to be public subnets again. So these are the public subnets, okay? And now we're set, okay? Next step, one more configuration, then we're good to go. Okay, last one is adjusting the environment variables. So how does the front-end application know where the back-end application is? Well, the application was built in a way where it just uses environment variable to point to the back-end endpoint. And it looks like this. It's this file right here, variables development.rb, and there's a production one too. So there's one for production, one for development again. So we just have to go adjust this. Now, the starter project actually already has this, so I'll show you where it is. And I'm just mainly showing this for instructional purposes because you guys might have used a different endpoint when you created this, right? So that one looks good, and this one looks good. So this actually should just work already because I'm just using those values based on the other when I created the demo backend application. Okay. So that's already configured. That looks good. And where you can grab it is you can grab it from the CloudFormation stack that has the demo application there. So, or the demo backend application. So I'll just show you where that is real quick. So see, right there. That's for production. And then for development, it's the other one. Okay? And I'll double check it one more time. This has dev in it, and this is prod. Okay? PRD. Okay? So we are ready to deploy essentially now. Okay? So I'm going to grab these commands here. And then kick the deploy off. So I'm going to go ahead and close this up right now. Close that up. Okay, and now just clear my terminal window and deploy. Oops, I am not in the application, so let's try again. Demo front end. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to deploy the front end application. I'm using the no wait flag for the first deploy. And the second deploy, I'm actually not using the no wait flag. So it's going to actually print out and display the CloudFormation status events and output it. Okay. So again, what the UFO tool does is, let's go to the documentation right here. It builds the Docker image and it pushes up to the ECR repository here. And then it's going to register an ECS task definition. That's just essentially a blueprint to tell ECS how to place the container. And then deploys to ECS and creates a load balancer, okay? So the steps that it's doing right now is right here is building the Docker image. Then if you scroll down here, it's pushing the Docker image up to ECR, okay? Then it's going to register a task definition, and then it's going to create the ECS service. So this is going to take a little bit of time because it's just creating the resource for the first time. It takes usually about 4 to 5 minutes. Oh, there it goes. It just actually started, it finished pushing, and then it built the task definitions, and then registered them, and then it kicked off the deploy for the development environment, and then it ran my second command there, which is actually deploying now onto the production environment, okay? It's pushing up right now, okay? Okay, so this is going to take a little time, so I'm going to go ahead to pause the video and come back and we'll check on it, okay? Okay, so the application has finished deploying. Here it is right there. It's completed. You can also check the CloudFormation stacks to see whether or not it's completed. I'm going to click on Demo Front-End Web right here, okay? And you click on Events so you can see how long it took. 1434 and it's 1437, so about 3 or 4 minutes there. And for good measure, let's check production also. Production is also completed. So now what we're going to do now is we're going to check whether or not that works. To do that, the README instruction has right here, you can basically just go curl the endpoint. It's external facing load balancer, so it's pretty easy to curl and test. You can just grab the output right here and curl it. So right here is the screenshot of where you should do it. It's in the CloudFormation outputs here. So front end web right there, click outputs, and there's the DNS endpoint. So I'm going to go and grab that, and I'm going to go and curl it now. So I'm curling the development one, and there it goes, calling front end calling backend, response from backend. So let's do the same thing for the production account real quick. Let's switch over to production account, go to the front end demo front end web, click outputs, and grab that DNS endpoint, and let's go ahead and curl that. And that also returns the same thing there, okay? So we are good. These are two different VPCs, two different environments, okay? Let's go back to the README. So testing the front-end application, which we did. Repeat the process for production. Okay, go back to the reference main architecture. Okay, so let's summarize all up. Okay, so what we did was we deploy a front-end application this time that talks to that back-end application on both the production VPC as well as development VPC. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. Thanks a lot. Cheers.